I'm Matt. In this video, I want to talk about a few possible candidates for the next installment coming from KORG and their KORG Legacy Collection, assuming that there are more coming. It's getting close to time. I would think maybe later this year we might see the next installment in that software suite. And so I wanted to put forth 5 potential candidates that I thought might be a good fit, given what else is already in the Legacy Collection. So let me share those with you, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about these choices that I've made. So to start off with, the ModWave and Op6 and WaveState, all hardware synthesizers, have all had software releases. And all 3 of those synthesizers have their ties back to an older vintage synthesizer from KORG. For example, the WaveState is supposedly the modern day version of the WaveStation. The ModWave is a continuation of the DW series. And then the Op6, actually I'm not sure what the Op6 would be an offshoot from, other than the DS8, which really was, as far as I know, KORG's only serious, if you want to call it serious, but their only FM synthesizer through the years. So with that being said, the WaveStation is already available in the KORG Legacy Collection, has been for some time. So I thought it would be interesting if KORG would go ahead and release the DW8000 and the DS8 as a couple of entries in their Legacy Collection, just so we sort of have all the forerunners of those 3 modern instruments that we have now that are kind of in a series together. So those are a couple of things that I thought might be interesting and potentially could be coming at some point. Now, if KORG wanted to go big on this next release and give us 3 synthesizers, I would like to see a 70s, 80s, and 90s pack. And what I mean by that is, we'll start with the 90s, the Trinity. I would love to see the KORG Trinity in their Legacy software collection. I had hardware Trinity for a couple of years and miss it quite a bit. Would love to have it back, but there was really nothing about the hardware that requires you to have it. In other words, there's not a lot of knobs and sliders and controllers built into the Trinity. So having a software version of it makes total sense to me. So I'd love to have that back, and with all the expansions as well. Then going back into the 80s, the Poly 800 is a synthesizer that still gets quite a bit of love today. It's not an expensive synthesizer. I think it's probably just getting harder to find them in good condition, but it's not a high-end synth, but just has some really cool sounds. It was very programmable. But again, having the software interface might make that synthesizer a lot more appealing to a lot of folks. And then if we back up into the very late 70s, the KORG Lambda, I think, would be a really cool choice, because I don't know that KORG has a very strong string synthesizer presence in their KORG Legacy Collection. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've got it, and I don't know of anything in there that screams string synthesizer. But the Lambda would definitely fill that niche, and I think it would be a really neat thing for folks to be able to mess around with, the sounds from a synthesizer that old. And so that would be my choice for a 70s, 80s, 90s pack on the Legacy Collection. And of course, they could just make me really happy and give me the Kronos, and I would take that all by itself. You don't have to give me anything else. So that would be an interesting one for sure. And maybe someday we'll see that. I don't know. There's a lot of strange and interesting things that have been coming out from KORG lately, both in terms of pricing decisions that they've been making, and then, confirmation of the Nautilus being their flagship workstation, which to me says they don't have another one coming out anytime soon. And this is a video for a different time, but really, is there any reason to come out with a workstation in 2023? Back when the M1 came in 1988, it was of course, the top of the line, but it had so much functionality all built into one machine. And we kind of still have that today, only it's our computers, at least in the studio setting. There are folks that I guess could use a workstation on stage still, but there even seems to be so many other, samplers and things, standalones. You don't really need the sequencer per se. And I'm speaking in generalities. I know that there are folks that probably use that functionality and need it and rely on it. So I'm not saying everyone's like that, but I think the majority probably are heading towards, even in a live rig, you're probably heading towards laptops, iPads, whatever you're using to drive your sound, and a sequencer perhaps. But I don't know that the workstation is going to be around much longer, at least in the form that we currently know it. So yeah, we'll just watch and see what KORG has coming next. But again, these are 5 choices that I think make a lot of sense for the KORG Legacy Collection, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So I appreciate you watching this video. Please feel free to comment below what would you like to see from KORG next, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks a lot.